some signs you're conventionally ugly? Story 1. I'm bald and look like an alien. I've literally been told that before. I agree. I used to wear a hat and looked pale, until one time a girl I was talking to asked me to remove it, and she gasped and put a hand over her mouth. That was about the last of my self-esteem. Edit. Very much appreciate the love and support. A few things. I can't really grow facial hair. I've long since accepted my baldness. I don't believe I look good, but I don't care what anyone thinks of me anymore. Really, thanks again, you all are too nice. Story 2. The best way to figure it out is to post about W ugly you are on some social media page. If the comments are full of or BFR or shut up and just general hate you're good looking, if you get comments saying everyone is beautiful, you seem like such a sweet person, or just people being nice chances are you're ugly. Another sign is being a Redditor. Story 3. The other day when at work, all the older women found out the new employee was single. So they started naming everyone they thought was attractive and single. They named basically everyone that worked there except me. I already knew, but it was a harsh reminder I need to work on myself. Story 4. People always ask you to take the group picture edit. This is an internal joke we make with my close friends every time any of us is taking the picture. To deliberately do this to anybody is a hideous act from an equally hideous person. Jokes can be used as verbal violence to psychologically hurt someone. To the people you have suffered this. You don't deserve that. I am sorry you have been hurt in this way. The people you did this to you are the problem. Story 5. Every day, other women are complaining online they get asked out and catcalled all the time, and isn't that annoying? I'm just here like, heh, yeah, woo boy, super annoying, hey asterisk sweating out asterisk. Story 6. You can't relate at all to any story about people being attracted to you. It's like you are invisible to most people, and when you get their attention, their eyes don't light up like they do when they see other people. Story 7. I'm not a beautiful man. I'm not handsome. I kind of look like a Russian henchman from some low-budget action movie, but not the cool henchman. I'm one of TSCW fall into an airplane motor, or a chipper Al casually. No big fight scene with the hero. People have said so, multiple times, that's I know. But you know what? There's not that many people in my particular niche. Story 8. They talk to you only when they must, or only for practical reasons to get something back. People are unforgiving and impatient with you. It can be ugliness, or simply that for some reason, they don't want to hang out with you. Story 9. When even your photographer friends can't make you look good in photographs, when it's literally their job to find a good angle for every face in the world. The look on their faces when they are sorry for bad photographs. Story 10. Unfortunately, as an authorer, I frequently am a guest on podcasts. Often people will email me and say, "You look just like my cousin," and then they attach a picture of their cousin. Invariably, the picture of their cousin is someone extremely unattractive, and it puts me into a depression for several days. I am so grateful that my book has been a blessing to so many people, but I wish like that I could just be a little bit prettier. Story 11. Honestly, it's as rare to be truly ugly as it is to be exceptionally beautiful. In my WA life, I've only met a handful of people I'd consider ugly or beautiful. Everyone else is either below or above average. Story 12. I'm not sure about conventionally ugly, but I think if people consistently comment on your appearance in a negative way, or you get overlooked in group PTOs, it might sting a bit. Story 13. When I was in high school, I was the quiet kid that never talked to anyone. I knew I was ugly whenever people called me a skull soda instead of dark and mysterious. This is mostly a joke about conventionally attractive people getting treated better than others. It did happen to me, but it doesn't bother me. Story 14. The only thing you get compliments on is your hair. The only one I ever get is asterisk, gasp, asterisk, your hair is so long, which isn't even a compliment as much as it is an observation. Story 15. No one goes out of their way to take interest in you, not just romantically either. Like, the advice is often given to initiate if you want to socialize more. There's obviously an uneven distribution of W needs to do the initiation, and it doesn't take a genius to figure out that happens. Story 16. I've often pondered about signs of being conventionally unattractive. I suppose it's when people avoid making eye contact, or maybe when friends hesitate to take pictures with you. It's challenging, but everyone possesses their unique beauty, right? Story 17. I have a friend where I think is cute, but she has frizzy hair and bad skin. Strangers would randomly try to give her advice on W to improve them. I was sacked when she told me, but even more so when we were waiting in the line for coffee one day, and a random woman behind us tapped her shoulder and suggested she use conditioner for her hair and sold see a dermatologist. Like WTFW rude is that? I witnessed it a few times. Poor girl. She said it has happened her bubby well life. Story 18. When people give backhanded compliments like, "You're so brave for wearing that," or "I love your confidence." Edit. I think also just being ignored. I don't consider myself ugly, but I was conventionally pretty when I was younger, and now I'm older, fatter, and put way less effort into my appearance. It's Nestle peaceful in comparison to when I was young and tea. Story 19. I guess when people put huge emphasis on WW nice your personality is, or a realization that you never received a compliment based on your appearance. Bonus. I'll argue people look at you more pitifully rather than a strong repulsion if you're conventionally ugly. If you are experiencing the latter, it's probably due to poor hygiene. Story 20. Wow, that's a lot. Okay, let's start. BTW. I am very okay with not being attractive since I'm a wow. Cons. No matches on any dating app, ever. Except, of course, the pretty Asian people that will then proceed to ask you to talk on another platform and slowly start talking about crypto/NFT/investment opportunities. People treat you like from the start. It's the default setting to distrust you. No compliments about your look, style, anything outward pros. When people SW interest, it's because you're interesting, not because they want to get with you in some way. Not only you sell, attractive people are trusted more in general. When people trust you and your abilities, it's because you and your abilities are trustworthy. When people compliment something about you, it's genuine. All in all, I am ugly as sin, and some people trust me and SW interest in me and mine. This took a lot of time and work, but I can be sure that my abilities are the things that snoo through, not the first instinct of, pretty boy, must trust. Story 21. I was 40 before someone taught me about ugly but ye. Another lesson. My beautiful as friends, well, I noticed the beauty until they became friends. Now it's the case that someone will comment, "Your mate is really good looking," and I'll think, "Oh yeah, so he is." I'd forgotten. Story 22. Ugly privilege. I'm a 35-year-old intelligent, successful, and well-regarded woman. I've never been hit on, experienced wolf whistling, or common street harmment. I've had abuse hurled at me and hateful grabs, but I've never been flirted with, asked for a number, or gone on a date. In happy news, I met my now husband of 12 years when we were just two awkward teenagers online. I say we never dated because it was long distance. He visited here once for 4 weeks before packing up a suitcase and moving here, Australia from Alaska, for good. I'm a solid 0.5, but our marriage is great and I get to work in a male-dominated industry with it, ever experiencing Yule Harmont. Story 23. As a woman, I get ignored a lot. Don't have a group of orbiters like the internet seems to think all women have. No getting out of tickets or free drinks. Rarely get hit on except for TSE guys that hit on everything that moves. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. Story 24. In my experience, the guys that are ugly are the ones with no confidence and a lot of insecurity about their appearance. Trust me, girls asterisk do not think like men. They will find the funny guy attractive or the talented guy or the kind guy. Just become asterisk impressive asterisk and stop worrying so much about looks. The worry is what's making you unappealing. Story 25. If someone says, "You look like," insert your name here, and the person WW this is said to gets slightly offended, you mad ugly. If you're in a bus and there's a sit right next to you and a girl decided to stand instead of sitting next to you, you mad ugly. This only applies to guys, I think. If the opposite gender always feels super comfortable with you in a friendly way, you either gay or so ugly they like, nah, that MF knows he ain't got no chance. If you tried flirting with someone and they get offended, you're either really ugly or have no game whatsoever. Story 26, ####. Nobody asks if you're bringing a date or +1 to any event. Nobody asks if you are married or single. Nobody asks if you have children, for they already know the answers to all TSE questions. In fact, your love life and marital status is all implied. Here is W, much it is implied. One time I had an HR person for a new job just on my single and unmarried status and unapologetically. If I had more self-esteem, I would have called them out for being presumptuous, but I needed the job. The flip side is, if you are attractive but appear single, people got questions and concerns all day long. Story 27. If you're gorgeous and outspoken and express yourself regularly and clearly, you're driven, self-confident. It might even help you land that job or promotion. If you're mealy and outspoken and express yourself regularly and clearly, you're annoying, obnoxious, a pain either, and it could easily eld you back professionally. I've seen this very scenario happen in my workplace, more than once, always with women. Story 28. People will only compliment singular features, such as, You have nice eyes slash teeth slash hair, etc. If you only get these kinds of compliments and never get compliments that refer to you being attractive as a WLE, then I got bad news. Story 29. As a woman who grew up ugly, then glowed up as an adult, aka lost weight and got good at makeup, it's very obvious by the way people treat you. People are so much kinder to people they think of as attractive. Especially men. They're far more friendly to me now. Similarly, my odd interests are seen as interesting, rather than labeling me as a freak. That's a key one I've noticed. I get judged less for being weird, as people find me attractive, so I'm seen as quirky and cool instead. Story 30. When you ask if you are attractive and someone says, "You got a nice butt," when someone tells you that you have a beautiful inside. Actually, when I started dating someone and they said, "They must like you for what's inside," I wanted to say, "Oh, I have an ugly inside you." Lol. Story 31. I have severely pockmarked indented scars on my cheeks, so the skin deformation doesn't help. I've also got a big nose and weak chin, and an asymmetrical face. I'm a lost cause. Story 32. I'm a twin, non-identical. My sister got handwritten inside in her card to my beautiful daughter. Mine said, "To my awesome daughter." Paraphrasing, but it was beautiful and awesome being the words. Genes were not kind to me. Mo, stop reminding me family. They're all great and meant no harm, but... Story 33. Some signs you might think you're conventionally unattractive include getting few compliments on your appearance, feeling overlooked in social situations, or noticing that people often focus on your personality rather than your looks. However, beauty is subjective, and confidence can make a huge difference in you're perceived. Story 34. At a job interview, and the interviewer moves the computer to a different table, goes through the interview asking questions from muscle memory, I guess. Says, "I'll call you at the end of the day." I called the next day because I didn't hear from him, and he had no memory of interviewing me. Never felt so bad about my appearance. I walked in, and he noped immediately. Story 35. A friend's GF took a candid picture of me and sweed me. I said, "Wow, I look good," and she shrugged and said, "Anything looks good in black and white." Had a guy tell me I was able, but only in the dark. That was a hard hit. I've gotten, "Does your boyfriend actually like gestures this?" Gotta be hard being the one of the group. What do you mean? You know they say all girlfriend groups have the one that makes the others look good? Damn, I think I need to go cry now. Story 36. You're easily forgettable and often ignored. I've been introduced to the same friends of friends a few times. They never remember my name and ask me the same questions. What do you do? What are your be-byes, etc.? I've started giving different names and mad outlandish be-byes. I've been a burlesque dancer, a roadkill taxidermist, and a vegan butcher, to name a few. No one ever remembers. Story 37. I was in a sorority and we did this activity where everyone wrote their name on an index card and ped them to the next person. You would write one word or phrase to describe them and keep ping it until they made it back around. It was absolutely ribble to see all of the cards coming around full of beautiful, gorgeous, and then getting yours back with funny, a good friend, smart, etc. We did this with like 100 people, so not having a single one of DC 100 people even put a pity beautiful was pretty rough. After seeing most cards come by that were just full of praise on attractiveness. The other sad game was everyone standing in a circle with your eyes closed and a couple people would wander outside the circle and rotate. There'd be prompts like, pat someone on the back that you look up to, and stuff like that, and me getting no pats the entire game. So rough. It's not like I had no friends, but that hurt. Don't do team building activities like this, y'all. Story 38. I generally considered myself average to attractive. Then a customer I was serving at a restaurant told me I look like Pete Davidson in a good way, and I just silently walked away. Like maybe she saw my print, but ma'am, still rude. Story 39. The first is that people try and find excuses to blame you for stuff or mark you as suspicious, like get tailed by anti-splifter agents in malls. People don't trust you near children. People ignore you, like waiters, SP clerks, and other service people. If something tragic happens to you, like you fall down, they look away. You don't get many opportunities handed to you, and often you have to work twice as hard to get someone to notice you. Source. Am ugly. One of the most tragic things that happen to attractive people is if they become ugly. Sometimes ugly is subjective. Like all some women have to do is age. Ask anyone who was pretty and popular up until their 20s, and suddenly thinks everyone became mean and awful. It's the same people, lady. They just stopped paying attention to you like they used to when you looked like a 21-year-old starlet. Fuck yes, that's unfair, but the world didn't change. It's been like this for the rest of us all along. You just never had to deal with it until recently. Story 40. A sign? You're invisible to the public, male, female, and everyone in between. I'm a 39F. I've never ever been approached by a man in some scary manner, or even a flirtatious or curious manner, that most women seem to have encountered in their life at some point. I hear the stories and see the social media videos, but have never experienced it firsthand. I don't fear for my safety when I'm out at night alone, as I know no one willingly wants to approach me. I don't have random people stop me for directions or questions about the area or a store I'm in or just strike up a conversation in line. I'm invisible, it seems, and that's really isolating and fosters a deep sense of loneliness. I don't think I'm super ugly, but I doubt I'm over a 3 in general. This feeling of being invisible has only increased as technology has put a barrier or step between human interaction. How it is today, I could go weeks without talking to someone outside of my workplace. Even at work, I can go a day or two with no interactions with other coworkers. I can order groceries online and pick them up. I get asked, "Are you underscore 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 underscore?" And I say yes, and that's the end of the grocery pickup conversation. I can order food on a restaurant's app, and it'll be the same, "I'm picking up for underscore underscore underscore." And they hand me my food bag, and I leave whether it's a drive-through or carry out. I must be in a category of repulsive that affects everyone generally the same. A literal, repulsive aura or energy that keeps people away from me. I used to lean into it, owning my isolation as an introvert, but having been forced into therapy after a mental break, I now realize that all-encompassing loneliness is deep and painful, and not something I want in my life. I just want to be able to be around people and not feel like I'm driving them away. I don't need the social interaction, but I do need to not feel alone and isolated from the rest of humanity. Story 41. I wouldn't say I'm ugly, but I'm definitely the least desired. I'm the ugly friend that hangs out with pretty friends. I had a guy literally try to use me as his wingman. Story 42. I started hanging out with this group of younger, really good-looking guys, all gay like me. I always believed in the saying, "You're as attractive as your friends," and these guys were easily 7s and 8s out of 10. I had been through some rough times but was finally employed again, had gained some weight back after losing it unhealthily, and thought, cool, I must be looking better if these guys want to hang out with me. It took me about 6 weeks of Sunday brunches to discover there was a no grinder rule. I everyone was using it, but then someone else left their peony on, and that unmistakable Grindr notification sound went off. It started a conversation, and they began explaining to me, the new guy, why they had this no Grindr rule. One by one, they turned their apps on. Dear God in heaven. My Grindr had been on during every brunch. In 6 weeks, with 2 brunches and similar hangouts, I might have gotten 1 hit. These 4 or 5 guys turned theirs on, and the godwaiter had been sending them messages. I had sent like 10 highs with toot, a single response during brunch. Within 5 minutes of them turning their apps on, they had 10 message notifications between the 5 of them. Apparently, they thought I was funny once for my jaded worldview, and they I was wealthy. About 6 weeks later, I realized they saw me as their pity friend, the one they bring around because they feel bad for him. I was shattered. They were getting messages and offers from every single profile within a mile. I must have been one of the guys they made fun of before they knew me. Story 43. When all you do is walk up and then they look up and say, "OMG, you scared me," and grab their chest. Note, this just happened to me at a tel I stayed at. I had a question for the front desk, and maybe my SES didn't make enough noise or something, but they were scared half to death. I scare people all the time. Story 44. I read that as conveniently ugly. I am conveniently ugly because I work in people's me's, and the wives need me to not be a threat to their relationships. Works out fine for me, as I am just there to do my job and earn salary for my family. Also, happily married. Also, my husband doesn't have to worry that someone might steal me from him. Story 45. I've been called a parrot before because I have a bigger nose. I also have been called shark teeth before because I have slightly crooked teeth. Fuck TSE, people. Ima, throw this beak and these shark teeth in their face. Story 46. When you get ignored in a group and treated badly just for talking or existing, it's crazy when people treat you who aren't attracted to you or think you are uglier than them treat you. Story 47. Once I was a bartender, started off quite skinny, and then ended up gaining a bit of weight when I recovered from my eating disorder. We had to wear SRTs and a bikini shirt once for a summer party, and the entire night nobody hit on me or anything, which was usually not normal. Then at the end of the night, this seriously drunk, young gay dude comes up to me and says, "I just want to let you know that you are beautiful and you look so good tonight." And I knew I looked both fat and ugly. Story 48. People don't open doors for you. The only compliment you get is, "You have pretty eyes." You don't ever get hit on. Girls are extra nice to you and compliment you to try and give you confidence. From my experience anyways. Story 49. As a woman, it's definitely when people don't open doors for me or don't get compliments. Not trying to say that everyone does, but I do notice attractive women do experience these lol. Story 50 asterisk. When someone compliments everyone in your group except you. Asterisk. When you spend an hour fixing up your makeup or hair, and someone asks you, why don't you put some makeup on? Or do something with your hair asterisk. When someone says that there's no shame in getting some work done, plastic surgery, then look at you. Story 51. For guys only, if you rarely get called good-looking in person, chances are you are good-looking because guys don't want to admit it, and girls are too shy to say it to you face-to-face. However, if you get called handsome by girls a lot face-to-face, chances are you are definitely ugly. Story 52. When you're in high school and teacher irons a kid you don't know to sit next to you, and that kid loudly says, ew, and the rest of the CL laughs at their bad fortune. Story 53. My ex once told me in all seriousness that since he had a rough childhood, he thought he asterisk deserved asterisk a beautiful woman when he grew up. But instead, he got me. Yet another reason he's an ex. Story 54. In my late teens and early 20s, I'm pretty good looking, but bad genes. Around 23, my blonde hair turned nondescript brown, got sudden onset male pattern baldness, and my body insisted on getting fat despite robust exercise and eating less. I can remember in the space of a year I went from half the cute girls I would walk by would glance up and give me a shy smile, to nobody would look me in the eye. Glance up. Story 55. Signs you're conventionally ugly might include feeling like you don't fit standard beauty norms, receiving negative comments about your appearance, or noticing that people treat you differently based on looks. Story 56. People comment on a thing that isn't your face. That's supposed to be part of society's beauty standards. I.e., you've got a great rack. Your legs are so long. Your hair is very well kept. Your nails look nice. I heard the rack comment way too much growing up looking ugly. Puberty and braces saved my life in terms of looks.